$50,000 in the wrong account will cost you $58,000 over the next decade. That's the real price of doing nothing with your money in Australia right now. I'll show you 7 places that actually make that $50K work. Stop here. You lose $3,600 every year. The ATO hands it back, but only if you know the trick. One place returned 13% this year. Nobody's talking about it. Another just died on budget night. Most Aussies haven't caught on. And the number 1 spot? Not a savings account. Why does the order matter more than what you pick? There's one gap in the tax code that hands you back 24 cents on every single dollar. That's coming up first. And it makes every other play on this list hit harder. Place 1, salary sacrifice into super. Not for the reason you think. From the 1st of July 2026, the concessional cap rises to $32,500. That includes your employer's 12%. So if your employer puts in $15,000, you've still got room to top up. Here's what that actually means in your pocket. Say you earn between $135,000 and $190,000. Your marginal rate is 39%, including Medicare. Every dollar you salary sacrifice gets taxed at 15% instead. That gap is 24 cents on every dollar. On $15,000 of salary sacrifice, you save roughly $3,600 in tax. Per year. Not over a lifetime. Per year. And if you earn more than that, the gap gets even wider. Every dollar you salary sacrifice buys back 24 cents or more. That adds up to thousands per year. And it compounds inside super for decades. That's why salary sacrifice is number 1. Not because it earns the most. Because the tax advantage makes everything else harder to beat. But most people stop there. They dump the rest into a savings account. That's where they start bleeding money. Place 2, your offset account. If you have a mortgage, this is your guaranteed return. The average variable rate sits around 6.2%. Every dollar in your offset reduces your interest at that exact rate. Tax-free, no capital gains event, no ATO paperwork. And here's what most people miss. A savings account paying 5.9% sounds close. It's not. After tax at the 39% bracket, that 5.9 drops to about 3.6. Your offset stays at 6.2. That's a 2.6% gap. On $20,000, you're throwing away over $500 a year for nothing. And that compounds. Over a 25-year mortgage, the wrong call on that 20 grand costs you over $12,000 in extra interest. That's not a rounding error. That's a holiday every single year. If you don't have a mortgage, a high-interest savings account is your buffer. Rabobank at 5.9, Ubank at 5.85. But a savings account has one job. Protect your emergency cushion, 3 to 6 months of expenses. Beyond that, your money needs to work harder. Place 3 is the one that surprised me. While everyone was staring at 5% savings rates, one asset quietly returned 13% in Australian dollars this year. Gold, 13% in Aussie dollar terms. Hit an all-time high in January. Corrected 20%, then ripped back past 5,200 an ounce. Currently sitting around 6,160. Nobody frames gold as an Australian play, but priced in our dollar, it crushed cash, bonds, and term deposits this year, not by a little, by nearly triple. A 5 to 10% allocation through an ETF like PM Gold on the ASX gives your stack a hedge no savings account can match. Now, how do you hold a 13% winner through a 20% correction without panic selling? That's where place 4 comes in. Term deposits. Bank Australia offers 5.35% for 12 months. Zero drama, zero drawdown. Government bonds sit at 4.8, 3% on the 10-year. Same job. This is the portion of your 50K that doesn't move. Place 5. ASX ETFs. Your compounding engine. VAS tracks the ASX 300. The dividend yield on the ASX 200 is about 3.3%. Grossed up with franking credits, it's closer to 4.5%. That franking credit boost is uniquely Australian. It's a structural advantage over international shares in a taxable account. VDHG, the diversified option, returned 13.8% last year and 9.4% per year. Over 5, it does its job while you sleep. You buy it, hold it, reinvest the distributions, and every year, Franking credits show up in your tax return like a quiet bonus from the ATO. And here's a stat most people don't know. ASX data over 50 years shows lump sum investing beats dollar cost averaging about 60% of the time. If you have the $50,000 now, the math says deploy it. Don't drip feed it over 12 months waiting for a dip. But the real story of this video is what the 2026 budget just killed. It changes the default advice for every Australian with $50,000 to invest. Once you see what happened to property, every place on this list looks different. Now picture this. You're 35. You earn $120,000. $15,000 goes into super via salary sacrifice. $10,000 into your offset. $5,000 into gold. $10,000 across VES and VDHG. That's $40,000 deployed with purpose. You've got 10 left. Fast forward 10 years. That salary sacrifice has compounded to over $250,000 inside super, most of it from tax savings you never would have seen otherwise. The offset saved you more than $60,000 in mortgage interest. That $60,000 that didn't come from a side hustle or a pay rise. It came from putting dollars in the right account. The gold hedged 2 corrections, and the ETFs quietly compounded with franking credits the whole time. Your tax return got a little fatter each year without you lifting a finger, all from one decision at 35. Not a genius stock pick, just the right dollars in the right order. Those last 10,000? That's where the 2026 budget changed everything. Place 6. REITs. Australian Real Estate Investment Trusts. The sector yields around 5.4%. Some individual trusts offer over 6%. Here's what nobody picked up on budget night. When the government killed negative gearing on established property, they explicitly carved out SMSFs and managed trusts from the new rules. REITs are the stealth winner of budget night. But that only clicks once you see what died. Place 7. Direct investment property. 12 months ago, this would have been number 1 on every finance list in the country. Negative gear it, claim the losses, wait for capital gains, cash in with the 50% discount. That playbook ended on the 12th of May 2026. From the 1st of July 2027, negative gearing on established residential property is abolished. The 50% CGT discount is gone, replaced with CPI indexation and a 30% minimum tax on gains. New builds keep the old rules. Existing owners are grandfathered. But if you're starting fresh with $50,000, the maths on an established investment property just got much worse. The most common financial advice in this country just changed. It's not on MyGov. It's not in your bank's newsletter. You either found out or you didn't. If your $50,000 isn't enough for a new build deposit, and for most Australians it's not, REITs give you property exposure with better tax treatment than owning an established place directly. That's the real story of this budget. But here's the thing. Most people miss about this sequence. Every dollar in your $50,000 has a job. Tax alpha first. Guaranteed return second. Growth and hedges third. And the thing most people would have done by default 12 months ago? Dead last. The order you deploy $50,000 matters more than where you put it. Get the sequence right and it's worth tens of thousands over a decade. Get it wrong and your $50,000 quietly becomes negative $58,000. The question was never whether you have enough. It's whether you'll stack it in the right order. The average Australian has $42,000 saved. If you've got $50,000 to deploy, you're already ahead of most of the country. You now know more about stacking it than 90% of Australians. The exact numbers for all 7 places are in the free breakdown linked below. If this clicked, a sub goes a long way.